أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم ولا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم وصلى الله على محمد وعلى الطاهرين. The topic that I was asked to address in this short segment is spiritual cancer, and what's meant by that is the concept of a spiritual disease which has set in and is overtaking the soul. Usually when it comes to physical diseases, human beings are pretty aware of when they come in, and they're pretty concerned about taking care of them. Somebody who gets sick, somebody who gets injured, somebody who has internal pain, they usually do something about it because they realize that if they don't, then number one, it's going to usually get worse, and number two, it's going to affect the quality of their life. And we are concerned about our physical life. We're concerned about our physical presence and the way we appear to others, the way that we, the amount of happiness that we enjoy by using our body. And so usually when it comes to these type of diseases, people are pretty much, it's pretty much settled, and it's something that, pretty much established for people that you have to do something when it comes to a physical disease. There's another class of diseases, though, that a believer understands exists, that unfortunately, for whatever reason, they don't receive the same attention as physical diseases. And this goes back to our belief that we as human beings don't just consist of our body, which is the physical representation of ourselves in the physical universe, because we believe that there is more to existence than a physical universe. We as human beings also have a spiritual side, and just the same way that a physical body can get sick, a physical body can get diseased, that disease can turn into something like a cancer, the same way a spiritual being, our spirit can also get sick, it can also get diseased, and that disease can get worse and worse. The difference, though, is that because people tend to define quality of life having to do with their material possessions and their material body, they care about it more. And although we also care about that, we need a good, healthy body in order to serve God, we have to realize that quality of life consists of more than just that as well. In fact, according to the wordings of the Quran, somebody who has a physical body that might be healthy, that's alive, that's walking the earth, but they have a soul which is dead, that person is actually dead. That's according to Quranic terminology. One whose soul has become alive with the remembrance of Allah, that's when real life begins. In Surah Al-Fajr, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala describes that human being who will be faced with one of the most difficult punishments in the hereafter, which is the punishment of regret. And that human being will say, Ya laytani qaddamtu li hayati, if only I had prepared myself for my life. Prepared myself for my life? What about all those years that I spent in the earth? That was also life, wasn't it? Well, yes. It was supposed to be life. It was supposed to be a mode of existence where you had more than just your physical body intact, but you also had your spirit intact as well. But if you ignore that, you forget about it, then so too, according to the Quranic terminology, we will be forgotten. Our share and our position and our status in the hereafter will have to do with the status of the soul. So what we need to do is we need to be aware of the existence of these spiritual diseases. We need to be trying to hunt them down and trying to figure out how we can diagnose ourselves and figure out what to do about that, to take care of that, to have healthy souls. It's important, right? That's what's going to determine our position in the hereafter. The tendency is because when it comes to physical issues, there's not that much you can do when you get physically sick. I mean, that even a small amount of pain in our teeth is enough to keep us awake at night. A small amount of stomach pain is enough to keep us grumpy. So we tend to take care of it. But spiritual diseases are such that we can get busy with other things and they'll make us neglectful over these spiritual diseases. And that state of neglect is the worst spiritual disease. According to Imam Ali alayhi salam, in a hadith, the gist of that hadith is that he says that there is a state of intoxication which is even more severe than the state of intoxication that you get from being drunk. Because when you're drunk, you're not in touch with your senses. Somebody who is drunk might even get injured and they're just not aware of what's going on. What is that state of intoxication which is even worse? It's the intoxication of ghafla, of being in a state of heedlessness. We're not aware of the position of our own soul. We're not aware of what's going on with it. We don't realize that all these years have gone by and these diseases have entered. They found a home, and they've established themselves within ourselves. They've multiplied and they've overtaken our heart and they define who we are. How is it that we go about identifying this? It's not impossible. It's not an impossible task. The fact that we're alive right now shows that Allah has hope that we can do something about that. At the end of the day, it's our actions which reflect the states of our heart. So if we are people who are concerned about our actions, we monitor them, we're checking ourselves. At the end of the day, we're accounting for ourselves. We're looking back and seeing what's going on. We're checking ourselves against the Sharia, which is the litmus test to know whether our actions are in line or not. Then we'll start seeing some trends. If, for example, we have a tendency to look at other people with a feeling of superiority, we look down on other people when we go about our day, and at the end of the day we realize that, that's happened multiple times in the day. That means that I have a problem of kibr, of pride and arrogance. If, as I go out throughout the day, we realize that we have a problem controlling our eyes, then that means that we have a problem of not being able to control our shahwa, etc. If we have a problem with being able to speak with each other, with others kindly, like our family members, we tend to be very good with people outside of the home, but inside of the home, we take on a different personality. We have a split personality. Then we have a problem with nifaq. We have a problem with riyah in some cases. We have a problem with our ghadab, in our anger in other cases. This process of monitoring and checking ourselves will be a way of learning and diagnosing, but then we need to figure out what the solution is. And that's why we're told in hadith that the most useful of knowledge is that knowledge which will point out to you the sicknesses of your soul and how to treat them as well. And alhamdulillah, that within the teachings of Islam, we're told not only how is it that we should govern our physical existence, but also how we should address our spiritual existence as well too. For all of these different diseases, maybe it's depression, maybe it's hopelessness, maybe it's pride, maybe it's anger, maybe it's uncontrolled shahwa, whatever it may be, there are rich teachings and rich solutions. We have to go about acquiring that knowledge, asking the scholars, and feed that into our process of monitoring and checking ourselves, muraqabah and muhasabah, until after time and training, we'll be able to eradicate those diseases from within the soul. And that's when we'll start to clear out the way for the light of purity, the light of Allah to enter, and for us to enjoy that spiritual life and that spiritual existence, which is known as al-hayat al-tayyibah, the true life, the pure life. We pray to Allah that He gives us the tawfiq to actually start this process of caring about our spirit and our soul, of identifying those diseases which are dragging us back and that will be a source of regret for us in the hereafter, and then to actually go and addressing these and eradicating them, and then spreading these teachings to others as well. Wa sallallahu ala Muhammad wa alihi.